Hello and welcome to a video on installing some airlines on my fry tank. So these type of videos are a bit different for me. I like to do videos on sort of large projects and stuff like that that I do, and stuff that I've installed that's quite interesting. I feel that this might be interesting to some people, but at the same time it's sort of just installing airlines. So let me know in the comments or with a like whether you like these type of videos or not. And hopefully, because it's something I do quite frequently, is update things and change things, but I never usually make videos on it because I just don't find it really exciting or like wow. So just let me know how you find these videos and if it's worth me to continue in the future. So in one of my previous videos I had ammonia issues on this fry tank, and it was a power failure that caused my air pump to not come back on after power came back and such forth. So this air stone at the back that you can sort of see bubbling away just here didn't have power on for quite some time. As you can see, shame about the net really, I might take the net off. So now you can see a little bit better. You can see that the air pump in the corner there is bubbling away quite nicely. It's a decent little air pump. It's sort of just a cheap ceramic thing. Not particularly wrong with it, but this is a 95 litre an hour air pump, so it's actually on quite a powerful air pump, and it does power one of them there and then two smaller ones in each one of these drum filters. And I'm thinking of replacing it to see how we get on. So what I'm thinking of replacing it with is these rubber things, and I've seen these quite a few times and I've always been quite interested in them. They look really good bubblers, and obviously this one's quite long, so this one's the one that I'm going to put in the back there, and it should be quite a nice little air stone. The only thing I don't like about these is like these clips here. That seems like a bit of a, look at that clip there stuck out like that, quite sharp. That seems like a bit of a not thought through part. The fish will cut themselves on that, so I'll probably just put a bit of black tape around that, something like that. And what we've got here, so this is really the reason I'm sort of changing it all. What we've got here is, this is what the air pump's connected to, so the air pump line comes up here, and then it comes to this sort of junction thing down here that you can see. And as you can see, we've got little hoses on it that are all just getting a bit tired, a bit ratty, you know, black marks in them and stuff like that. And I just think they're blocking up, not really letting the air flow as well as it could do on the 95 litre an hour pump. And I've got a new one of these things to put on here and distribute the air. So these are a lot better, lot bigger airline and stuff like that. And this is the airline I'm going to be using. It's 3/8 I think, and seems pretty decent airline, a lot thicker than the thin rubber tubed airline that I'm using at the minute, so it should be able to move a lot more air or allow a lot more pressure to get to these air stones. So I'm going to be putting this big one in the fry tank and then two of these little ones in the drum filters and see how we get on. And I'm hoping that, obviously last time we didn't have any oxygen on and it really caused a lot of problem in my ammonia and that, so I'm hoping that by increasing the oxygen levels potentially, I don't think it'll increase it a ton, don't get me wrong, but it may do, it may help, may have some positive effects on the water quality. Not that it's terrible, I mean look at the fish, they're quite happy and healthy and stuff like that. It's not terrible water quality, it's just something I want to keep on top of as the fish get bigger, especially. If we need to process more ammonia for even more feeding and stuff like that, maybe it will need more oxygen, and that's another reason I'm putting them in the drum filter. So there's two reasons that they're in the drum filter. One, because it'll oxygenate the water before it then goes up to my shower, and the main one being that it stirs up the muck as it comes into the drum. So as it comes into the drum, it just goes into the chamber bit at the beginning before it actually goes into the drum, and sometimes heavier particles can just settle out in that rather than getting into the drum filter and getting washed down the drain. So with an air stone in, it agitates the water in there constantly, so nothing gets to settle and it all makes its way into the drum. So it has two benefits to that. So let's start taking this old system to bits and installing the new one. So here we are, we're changing this thing. I'm not actually going to bother turning the air stone off, I'm just going to pull that off like that. So as you can see, there are a lot of pressure built up behind there, and that's one of the things I want to sort of relieve by doing this. And these are really good little things, but they are very small outlets, whether these are much bigger. I mean, you can see, let's compare the outlet size. They're a lot different in size, so it should be a lot better with this new one on. One of the things I want to figure out is if that'll fit on there. It's a bit loose, so one of the options I've got here is just open them. Open the valves before you start trying to do that. Could cut that back, or I could try and fit it onto there. I think I might be able to try cutting that back. Bear with me one moment. There we go, we're back. So I've just chopped that off there because this bit's a bit expanded, so it should fit nicely now. Got a nice little hose clip to go over there and put that on there like so. Yeah, that's a really good tight fit, that's what we want. Could try heating it up. So now we're doing it the proper way. So let's get some hot water on the job, like so. Let it warm up the pipe, and makes life a lot easier, doesn't it? Perfect. Done. Should have done that in first place, but there you go. That's how it goes with it. So if I think I'll put that around the back, out of the way. There we go, I can nicely sit down there and out at the road. It should be alright. So, now I need to get the air stones done. So let's start with the air stone for the fry tank. So I have put some tape around those bits. Obviously it's not an amazing way of doing it, but it's a lot better than that. So that one's really quite sharp. This one's in the drum filter, so I'm not even going to bother taping it up. Just gone around it nicely. And it just makes it a bit smoother. I don't want to end up cutting my fish on some pointless bit of metal. I don't know why they haven't put some shrink wrap or something around that, I'll never know. So let's get the one out of the tank and put this one in. So we've got that stuffish pipe on here, and it should be good. The pipe's nice and warm, so it should be fine. Let's chuck it in that back corner where the old one was. There we go. Let's get torch on job, see where it's sat. That's perfect, that. It's already got some fish pecking at it. Nice and out road. Brilliant that actually. Right, so got to figure out where I want this airline to go. I think I might try and run it out of the way a bit so we can't just see it all the time. So I might end up trying to get down this trunking. So I've run that pipe over there, through this trunking and down to the thing. We'll have a closer look at that in a second. So this is the main pond's drum filter, and in this filter I've got, down there somewhere, is a little air stone down there, and then it comes up and then just goes through the rubber boot on this thing. So I need to make the hole bigger in this rubber boot and fit the new air stone down there. Actually surprisingly clean down there, I think there's a bit of cabbage. But yeah, we'll get on with that and I'll come back to you when I've done that bit. So here we are, I've just put the one in the bottom of this drum filter, and as you can see I've actually used a bigger one. So if I put the light over there, it goes all the way to the other end of the drum. So I had two of the bigger ones that I put on the other system. I don't know if you can see from that in there, look. It goes all the way from one end of the drum to other, so it fits in there really nicely, that big one. The only thing I'm hoping is that it doesn't take, look at all muck in there, is that it doesn't take too much air off of the whole system. So basically I want more air, you know, I want that one to bubble really well, I want this one to bubble really well, I want them all to bubble really well. I'm just hoping that using a big one in here doesn't just reduce the pressure a bit too much, but that's something I'm willing to find out. I'm willing to test it and then be wrong and change it, so that's fine. Yeah, fish are looking a little bit upset that I bothered them and that, but happy enough. So let's get on with putting the one in that filter now. So there we go, that's that one in as well. So this one has got a smaller one, mostly because it's a smaller drum and it can't fit the bigger one as in as easily. And you can just see it goes to there instead of all the way along the drum filter. Again, really quite mucky on these dirty sided drums. They're both really made up with muck. Anyway, that's for me to wash out later. So, what I wish I had done actually, I wish I'd have looked at the pressure. Might have to do that in editing in a second. So, I'm leaving the unused outlet open for now, so I'm going to go and turn the air pump on and then I'm going to close it, because obviously I don't want to, if there is too much pressure, say blow one of these rubber boots or out like that. So I'm just going to have leave it bleeding until I get back, so I've got to go in the basement to turn it on. So let me go in the basement. There we go, that's the air turned on. And obviously it's all just leaking out, so there's no pressure in a minute and no bubbling up. So if I close this valve just here, like so, we can watch the pressure build up. That's about my limit, I think. There we go. And then we can have a look. That one bubbles really well. That one's bubbling a hell of a lot better than it were before. Bubbling like crazy actually. These ones are quite a powerful air pump. So these ones aren't, that one's not quite bubbling yet. But it's all coming through the littler one, which is to be expected really. So that one's not bubbling yet. So what I need to do is turn off the little one, which one is it? This one. So if I turn the little one off, it should just force the water out of these bigger ones. There we go, that one's starting to bubble. You see? A bit milder than I would have thought. I thought it'd be coming out there with some power, but it's probably just cleaning all water out. That one looks like it's bubbling quite a bit. What I might have to do is just individually put them on. Let me get this torch to work. Scare some of the fish away. Can't actually see it really. Might have to go around to the other side and have a closer look. So now we're at this side. You can see it's definitely bubbling. Quite nicely actually, a bit better than the other one where, but I can't see the actual thing because of the bubbles, ironically. Where is it? Has it moved? Can't tell if it's moved or not, to be honest. Oh no, it's still there, yeah, I see it. Yeah. Yeah, just bubbling away down there. So I've actually turned this one off as well. So I think by looking at that I'm going to end up having to put the smaller one back in here because I don't think I'm going to get enough air through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn them all on now. I'll turn the big one on in here first and then I'll let this one start to flow some air. Oops. Turn the wrong one on. Turn that one off. Turn this big one off first so that it can push all water out in it. They're new as well, so when they get a little bit of age on the rubber, they'll let the air flow a little bit easier. So what I might do is just let it run for a day and see how we go. It's not flowing very much, that one. That one's flowing really well. That one seems really quite decent actually. Could potentially get a bigger air pump, would be one of the ideas now, but they cost enough money. So that's that one. That's not bad actually. What I might do is just try turning this little one on. I've got a feeling that one will just bubble like crazy. Yeah, it bubbles a bit too much, that one. So what I have to do with that one is reduce that a bit like that. A little bit more. There we go. Yeah, that's more like it. Good airflow. That one's fine. It's actually a little bit better than this one, to be honest. That one's not really flowing an awful lot, so I might end up putting a smaller one in there. I think that's what's going to happen here. And that one's flowing quite nice. I can't understand why that one's flowing really nice and the one in the drum not. So we're now a day or so later, and this one, as you can see, is bubbling really well, and the reason for that is because I've took the big one off. So here's the big one that I originally put in there. And the big ones seem to require too much pressure from these air pumps, and the air pump's not a small air pump. I'll show you it now. It's the 95 litre Evolution Aqua AirTech one, and it's a pretty decent air pump. It should quite easily be able to do it, but I think you're probably looking at like a 150 to gain the pressure to run them big ones, but it does. This one does the little ones quite nice. So the little ones are running lovely. If we look in this tank here, then you can see that that one's also flowing quite well without blinding the camera with the torch. Yeah, so that one's flowing quite well. In this one, I've still got the big one on, so let's have a look. You can see it's barely really doing anything. Yeah, so I'm going to take that big one off as well. So basically, according to the pressure gauge, so now I've put the small one on here as well, the pressure gauge is lower than it were when, only fractionally lower than it were with the original Airstone set that I had on before I put any of these on. So we're talking about like 0.1 of a PSI difference. So I'm presuming that if I had a small one for this as well, it'd probably run a lot better. But one of the things I probably will end up doing now is putting a lot bigger air pump on. I could test these with my bigger air pump off my main pond, because that one is able to produce more pressure, as well as obviously more volume of air. So yeah, but we're sticking with this for now. That one's bubbling great, that one's bubbling great, and this one is going to get changed. So there we go, I've just took that Airstone off and put the old one back on, and it's a lot better. So you know, the old Airstones were fairly good. Cheap ones, cheerful, they did the job, and that's probably what's going to end up staying in there. This one is still looking pretty good, I'm still pleased with that one, so I haven't touched anything, I've literally just put that Airstone on, and it's not made any difference to that one, and not made any difference to the one inside there either, so I'm pretty pleased with that. I can't annoyingly see the air pressure because I put my TV back. I'll shift it in a minute. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. I think that's how it's going to stay. I'm not getting another one of them rubber boot ones. These ones are really for high pressure pumps, because these Spindrifter bottom drains are also rubber domed and they do not require much pressure at all. So I mean, this one, these two bottom drains are on a 150 litre an hour pump, or minute pump, I can't, they're on a Airtech 150, whatever that is, and it's a pretty decent pump. But I had these on an Airtech 75, I think it is, not even the thing, so it was the kit version, the little rounded one, so it weren't like high pressure version, and they did pretty well. Obviously you get a lot more air bubbling up with the 150, but it was quite nice with the 75. And this is a 7 foot deep pond, so I've put a 95 on a 6 foot deep pond, and it were too much, and I had to replace that with a 75. So, and that were two aerator bottom drains as well. So, you know, I expected those rubber Airstones to be very similar to the Spindrifter ones, and they're just not. They require a lot more pressure. These do not require much pressure at all. So there we go. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's probably been a bit pointless really. I've just put in some Airstones that I've not really benefited from, but at some point I might end up putting a new air pump on them and really benefiting from them. No idea what I'm going to do with these. So if you like this video, then please like it. If you want to see more videos like this and fisher related videos, then please feel free to subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, then please put them down below, and I shall see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.